Welcome to Driveway Garage. Today I'm working on a snowblower that I bought yesterday. Hasn't been used much, so it's pretty much like new. They're about 900 bucks at Home Depot. I just looked online. I picked this one up for 350 bucks, so I think it's just a matter of getting rid of the old gas and cleaning out the carburetor and check the spark plug. But let me show you what I have going here. So this is it. This should be really good. I made the mistake of selling my other snowblower. I had a snow thrower by Honda and I had a nice snow blower, and I sold them both because last year we had a super easy winter. Anyway, I picked this one up because we've been getting a lot of snow already. And this was a Snowtech made by Ariens, which I guess is a really good brand. And it's 24 inches, gas powered, of course. Now, some of the things I like about it is super easy to use once you get it started. This is your gear shift, so you have 6 forward gears. There's the first one, and it just shifts pretty easy, and you go all the way to, I guess if you're heading back to the barn, 6th gear. But it also has 2 reverses. And then to change the direction of the chute, you turn this handle, and you only have to turn it about 1 revolution. See if I can do them both. Well, it just turns really fast. My other one, you had to crank and crank and crank. So 1 or 2 revolutions, that baby's turned from one way to the other. And the other nice thing, my old one, there was a handle on the top here. You had to grab it, raise and lower the direction of the chute, or the angle of it. This one has the handle right here. You just move it, and when you move it, the top moves. So you can shoot it straight up in the air or right back down towards the ground, depending on how much room you have. This one engages your drive, so forward and puts the engine or transmission in gear. And this one over here is the auger, so you can move it without the auger running. You can have the auger running without moving anywhere. Now, as you can see, I'm already set up to siphon the gas out. I've got this hand pump that I use a lot for sometimes changing oil, mostly like transmission fluid or differentials, things where there's a fill plug and a drain plug, and sometimes I'll use this to put the new fluid in. Transmissions, I like to take that, put it down the dipstick of the transmission and suck out all the fluid I can, so it's not so messy when I take the transmission pan out. And it's pretty easy to use. I've got the sucking side in the gas tank, and the other side, of course, in that little bucket. And all you have to do is just pull the handle up, which is going to be hard to do with one hand, but anyway. Pull the handle up, push it down, pumps the fluid out. So this gas is kind of stinky. It's been sitting for at least a year, and of course he left it with a full tank of gas, which is now kind of golden color. And I'll get that out of there, run some carburetor cleaner through the carburetor, and hoping that'll just free it up. Worst case scenario, I'll have to take the carburetor off and piece by piece clean it up really good, but I'm hoping it's not that bad. The carburetor's in behind here, but there is a drain bolt on the bottom. I can drain the old carburetor or the old gasoline out, and I was thinking about doing that and then dumping some carburetor cleaner through the top, and hopefully that'll loosen everything up so it'll work again. This has a key that's right there. This is the on-off switch. This is the primer bulb. Your choke on and off. Now, somebody said something about having a fuel on and off, but I don't see any fuel on and off unless it's over here. Oh yeah, it does have a on-off switch for the fuel. So we can shut that off, and we won't keep dumping gas into the carburetor. This also has electric start. You just plug an extension cord in right there, push the button, she cranks over. So if you don't feel like pulling on the rope, pretty easy way to do it. I'm looking forward to using it. Another thing I found out from watching videos, you see the cotter pin there? If you take that out and put it in the outside hole there, it disengages that tire. So normally you can run it with just one wheel, and it's just fine, because otherwise both your wheels are locked up and it's harder to steer it. And if you need to turn around, both axles are locked up, or both wheels, probably just one axle. There's one on both sides, so a lot of guys just disconnect one of them. That way it's just driving the one tire, and it's a lot easier to make a turn with it. So I'm looking forward to getting it started and running, and I'm going to keep adding to this video as I go. But the first thing I'm going to do is drain the old gas out, and then probably, I think I have some Berryman's B12 out in the garage. And I've got some carburetor cleaner here that I'm going to use. B12 Chemitool. So we'll get some of that down in there after a while. But I think I have a can where I can just dump it into the fuel tank, and then let it run through the carburetor, fill it up, sit for a while. Maybe it'll clean the gumminess, varnish, tarnish, whatever out of there. Get this bad boy running today and clean up some of my bigger snow piles outside, because this is a heck of a lot easier than using a shovel. Looks like there was some kind of sticker on here, but they never really took off very good. But the guy never hardly used it. There's the price tag that was on it. I suppose maybe it had owner's manual on it, but it's gone. I forgot to ask the guy for it. I may send him a text message, see if I can get the owner's manual and stuff if he has it. So it's 200 cc's, 9.5 foot-pounds of torque. I don't know how that equivalates in a snowblower. It wouldn't be much in a car, that's for sure, but 24-inch cutting path. And the height of it is, I don't know, almost 20 inches. So it'll go through a lot of snow. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to pause this and continue pumping out the gas, and then we'll just take it from there. Well, I got the gas drained out. As you can see, it doesn't look too great. And I look in the tank. Now I added a little more gas I had sitting in that can, just so I can pump some more out of it. But see the brown stuff down there at the bottom? That doesn't look so good. I hope it doesn't have a bunch of crappy sediment in it that's going to go right in and plug up the carburetor every time I go to start it. Well, let me see if I can drain this stuff through the carburetor. Now on the carburetor, something else I did, I put a 4x4 under the front end just so I could get more gas out of it. Tilt it back, let all the gas go to the back of the tank. So I'll pump that out one more time, and then I'm going to come over here to this side. You can see where the spark plug is. This is the spark plug wire, of course. Spark plug's hiding in there. And of course, I tried both my spark plug sockets. Neither one of those worked. So I Googled it, and it says it's a 13/16. So I went out to my shop, grabbed one of those. Well, what do you know? It fits on there. Now I can get the spark plug out. But right underneath the primer bulb is the carburetor. You can see it up in there. And there's two bolts, screws or bolts that go into it. The center one holds the bowl on. The outside one is drain. So I'm going to pull it out and catch the fluid in something. and see if I can just get most of the junk out of that. And I'll see what the gas looks like too, because if it's got a lot of stuff in it, I'm gonna have to end up taking this cover plate off and then removing the carburetor and taking it apart. I'm kind of hoping I don't have to do that, just because, you know, it's more work. I'd like to keep this simple, but the screen, it's kind of brownish looking, but there's no big chunks of anything in it. But I don't know about the gas tank. So let me get this gas drained out here and see what we have. I thought I'd check the spark real quick and see if I have any. I got the old gasoline out of the tank. Put the lid on there. This spark plug was a burger getting it out of there. I put an extension on it, but it wants to hit right here. They just barely made enough room to get the spark plug out of there. I almost broke out another socket and took this cover off, but I didn't have to. Let's just see if there's any spark. Let's see. I suppose I have to have it on run. Maybe. Yeah. Let's see if there's any spark. I'm using my electric start. See if you guys can see this. Oh, yeah, there's a lack of spark is not the problem. So I'll put the spark plug back in and clean out the carburetor. See what we have after that. Okay, I got my camera on a stand so you guys can see what I'm doing. These are 10mm bolts on the bottom of the carburetor. So I've got my ratchet and a 10mm socket. I borrowed one of my wife's little cheap aluminum baking pans to catch the gasoline. I couldn't find anything else, and this will fit right underneath there real easy so I can catch the gas when it comes out. So, like I said, there's two bolts down here. The center one holds the cup on. The other one is a drain. So, we'll drain her. See how much crap we can get out of here. Right now, nothing. So that means maybe the float is sticking. So I guess I'm going to have to take off the other one and drop that cup down completely. I figured the bowl would be full of old gasoline, but it's not. So probably the needle valve that holds or lets the fuel in is probably stuck in the shut position. Well, that's letting a little fuel out. Very little, but a little bit. See what that looks like. Yeah, the bolt looks a little bit on the crusty side on the inside. The gasoline looks like pea. It's really more like kind of a greenish yellow instead of gold like gasoline's supposed to be. See if that'll come off of there. There she goes. I think we'd have a gas line holding it on. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no wonder it won't start. Look at all the junk in the bottom of that. Where's the camera lens? There. See that? See in the bottom of the pan there? It's all crusty. Wow. What the heck? Look at that. That's just part of it. Let's see if I can tilt this down where you can see it. Move it over here. The bottom of that is just full of rust. That's like not good. Wow. If the bottom of that carburetor or inside that carburetor is that bad, I'm going to end up having to replace the carburetor, which is not what I want to do. Well, shoot. I think what I'm going to do is open the fuel spigot up. I don't know if I have any more gas. I think I'm going to go get some more regular gas, not ethanol, and just run it through there and see if it'll clean out a little bit. But that's really disgusting. I mean, that's a lot of junk. There's at least an eighth of an inch of rust and sediment in the bottom of there. I don't know how it got so bad. You can see all that junk. There's no way that's going through the carburetor, those little orifices. Well, I'll pause it for now. I'm gonna have to get me some more gas because I know I ran out this summer when I was mowing. Oh, there's a gas can in the corner over there, but I think it's empty. I'll pause this for a minute, guys. I'm gonna see if I can find some gasoline or run some carb cleaner through it, something. I found some gas in this can that I had in the corner, so I dumped some of that into the gas tank. And I've got some Berryman's B12. I'm going to dump that in the gas tank. Let it sit for just a little bit, see if it'll dissolve some of the junk in there. And then I'm going to just open up the fuel, let it run straight through the carburetor, and hopefully clean the junk out of it. See what happens. Well, I was hoping I would not have to take the carburetor off, but I'm going to have to. I put gas in the gas tank and some cleaner, and I opened up the fuel shutoff, and there's not even any gas running through the system. So either the needle valve here is plugged up, probably the whole thing's just got junk in it. So I'm just going to go ahead and take the carburetor off. And how you do that, you're going to take this off. There's 2 bolts on this side, 2 bolts over there, and that'll come off. And then I think there's 6 bolts here. There's 1 there, 2 there, 1 on the other side. Maybe that's it. Anyway, I'm going to take that all off, then pull the carburetor. I'm not going to get lucky and just have it start right up after cleaning it, or this little bit I did. So that's going to be my next project. I'm not even going to film taking out the nuts because the screws or bolts. You guys can do that, figure it out. I'm guessing they're 10 millimeter. Let's see. Yep, they're 10 millimeter. So let me get started on that. So I got the top off. I think that's kind of a heat shield. And I'm starting to take the bolts out on the side of the cover plate here. Once I get those out, there's 1 on the other side, a screw or something holding it. Then I can take this whole cover off. I watched a video, it was really good on how to do it. So I'm trying to follow what he did from memory, but my memory sucks, so hopefully I'll get this off here in a minute, show you what we're looking at. So I was wondering about this choke switch. I just pulled up on it and it came right off. There's a little friction there. It didn't fall off, but it came off pretty easy. Primer bulb, I guess that's connected to a tube. And I'm pretty sure there's, maybe they designed it different. The old one that I watched, this shield was 1 piece. It wrapped all the way around. But I'm seeing that this is already loose. And I'll disconnect this gas line to the primer bulb, disconnect these electrical outlets, and I think I'll have access to my carburetor, it looks like. In fact, I might just be able to disconnect the primer line and that thing will get out of the way far enough I can get the carburetor off. Let's hope. Well, I grabbed a few more tools. I got a pair of needle nose pliers, a small screwdriver, and a little bit bigger flat screwdriver. So what I'm going to try to do is pry this, if you can see it. There's the primer gas line going right here. I'm going to see if I can get that to loosen up. There it goes. Okay. So now all we have is our wiring holding it. So I think I can kind of get that up there out of the way maybe. There. Now we've got the main, take you off there for a second. So this is the main gas line going up to the gas tank. Now I've got the fuel shut off over there, so hopefully a lot of gas won't run out. And then I'm guessing I just take these two spacer nuts off there and the carburetor will come off. That's what my hypothesis is. I'm not sure if I have to get in taking this heat shield off or not, but let's take off that gas line and these two nuts and see what we have. Well, I got the gas line off here, so it's free. And I opened up the shut-off valve and there's no gas coming through. So I'm wondering if maybe there's a screen on the bottom of there that's plugged up too. But my next step is get the carburetor off. Well, I took those two nuts off the carburetor, and then this came with them. But the carburetor, oh, now it seems like maybe it'll come off there, maybe. I didn't think it was going to move, but maybe it will. Let's see. Oh, so that black thing has to come off. And now the carburetor, yeah, carburetors. This is the fun part of working on carburetors. Let me flip this around. So you've got a little wire here, and you got this is a spring that pulls it back, keeps some tension on it. You see that long spring there. And then this is the one when you open the throttle, it moves this, and then internally it changes where the fuel comes from depending on what position it's in. So I'll have to take those two things off of there. Normally, like the spring, yeah,